The next day, I said goodbye to Roger, Ben, stuck my middle finger up at Zach, and I went on a plane ride to a Seaside United States Air Force base. I was excited beyond belief. In a way, I was disappointed that Roger and Ben couldn't come with me. It was quite lonely for most of the plane ride. And, nothing happened, except for that baby who cried most of the plane ride. I told him to shut the fuck up. Screw that kid. I arrived at the Air Force Base, and I was directed into a rec room where the colonel asked me some questions. His name was Jonah, and by his accent, I assumed he was Australian. 6.5 feet tall, bald, covered in tattoos, and looked like a Joko Willink on steroids. He was also the kind of guy who would probably twist your head off like a fucking Barbie doll. But the joke's on that fucker because I was still inches taller than him.
Okay,
Jonah said.
What exactly happened on your expedition?
God damn it. Didn't I already explain this? We searched for a gigantic aquatic superorganism a couple miles offshore, but it turns out that creature wasn't the apex predator. But what was the apex predator chased us to a deserted island, and we stayed there for about a week until some fishermen passing by found us. Then the Coast Guard picked us all up. Then I got an email from you guys, and now I'm here.
Come on, you lying bastard. All this sounds like a plot from a cheesy deep-sea thriller novel.
That's exactly what it is, I said. And also, I thought you knew what happened. You guys are military, right? You guys know everything.
No, not everything.
Well, shit. That just makes this even more confusing. Well, anyways, what I said was the accurate and true version of what happened. Are you happy now?
Yeah, and you'll have to sign these.
He handed me a stack of thick-ass papers. What the hell are these? I asked.
NDA papers. It's just so we can make sure that we keep our secrets. We don't want the Russians
You
to.
said you guys didn't know as much as we did, I said.
Just don't ask any more questions.
I was literally forced to spend some time learning what to and not to do on a military base, which I found was totally unnecessary and overkill considering the nature of the actual mission. After that, I was told what the plan was. The oversimplified explanation of what the military was going to do is this. They were going to take a couple of fighter jets and go to the area where the gulper eel was last spotted, and with my help, I would tell them the right place to hit and how to track such a creature before the mission. A few naval battleships from far away would trace the exact location of the gulper eel thing, and when it was found, the jets would engage, dropping multiple bombs on different parts of the gulper. So, since the midsection area of the gulper was thin in comparison to its head, just like a normal gulper eel, they were hoping that a well-placed bomb drop would sever the gulper's body, killing it. It seemed like a dumb plan, but a dumb plan that would work, like every monster hunting military operation ever. But another interesting aspect of the mission was the jets the pilots and I were going to fly. They were fucking Northrop Grumman B-2 Spirit fighter jets, which I thought was overkill and unnecessary. I'll never understand military guys. In case you don't know what I'm talking about, B-2 Spirit fighter jets are the newest, quietest, deadliest, fastest, and most powerful jets yet. To put it simply, they look like UFOs. Don't expect me to describe it, you lazy shits. Go search it up. Go see grass for the first time in a week. And for over 2 decades, the B-2 fighter jets have been unstoppable. Or at least to Russia and Afghanistan, but we don't talk about Afghanistan. These jets were designed to carry and drop ballistic missiles and nuclear weapons, and we just weren't aiming for that kind of damage, so the jets would be carrying smaller bombs. Not big enough to destroy New York City, but big enough to decimate 10 entire well-sized suburban neighborhoods. So the bombs were pretty big. Turns out it's super fucking cramped in those jets, like I couldn't even move my damn legs. But I guess I would have to expect that from my height. So, from a US military base, we took off and into the cloudy-ass skies. We went high, really high. With several F-15E Strike Eagle jets following us, we dropped down, closer to the sea's surface. When the Navy ships had spotted the gulper eel thing, or the gulper, as Roger called it, it was 100 nautical miles offshore, somewhere in the middle of the Pacific. This thing moved very fast. But given the absolute speed of the Northrop Grumman B-2 Spirit fighter jet, we closed that distance in no time.
Hold on to something,
the pilot said, as if I wasn't doing that already. But before I could say anything, I felt the jet take a steep drop and the weightlessness in my stomach. Now, given the fact that this guy was even piloting a Northrop Grumman B-2 Spirit fighter jet, I never really got his name, so I'm just going to call him Guy. He had probably driven this jet 100 times before, but I had never been on an aircraft of this speed and class. So I just threw my shit up right there in the passenger seat. But luckily that never happened, or so they say in the official military report. When the jet slowed to a more manageable speed, I could finally breathe again. I looked outside, and I saw the one and only gulper. Even though I couldn't see the gulper's head, the hump of its thin body protruding from the ocean surface was pretty enormous. And given that Guy yelled an extremely obscene swear word right in the middle of piloting the jet, I could tell that this was his first time seeing something this large. I, however, had seen this oversized gulper eel way more than I wanted, so I wasn't as fazed as Guy when the gulper came into view. My heart just stopped when Guy said,
"Target locks! Get ready to fucking fire on this huge piece of shit!"
As the jet flew right over the gulper eel creature, the bomb hatch on the underside of the jet opened, and 2 small bombs dropped onto the gulper. It screeched and lifted its enormous head, sending enormous waves along the ocean's surface, enough to level Japan.
What the hell? That didn't do anything,
I yelled at Guy. Guy shook his head and steered the jet back above the gulper.
No. Those bombs were to get it to raise its head. Now these are the real fucking bombs.
Guy pressed several buttons, and a barrage of bombs hit the gulper as we flew the hell out of there. There was an earth-shattering boom as the bombs exploded all over the gulper, immediately penetrating its flesh. Holy shit. The jet stopped and turned around again, and we saw what was left of the gulper. It was blown to shreds. Half of its skull was missing, if it even had one. The jets bombed and destroyed the rest of the remains, and we headed back to the base.